Hello, welcome to Current News. I'm your host, Chris Davis, and today we're going to do a movie review of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Okay, so Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker has been out about 3 weeks now. So this review is going to contain spoilers. Like, I have to mention some of the spoilers in order to review this film. I don't see how I could not. It would be very vague if I didn't. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, please click off this video. If you don't care for spoilers, please continue to watch. Okay, with that being said, let's get into the review. So, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Did I love the film? Did I hate the film? I liked the film. I enjoyed it. It does have its issues narrative wise. I'm not just going to be a Star Wars fanboy and say that there were no flaws in it. It had its issues narratively, but for the most part, they weren't enough to stop me from liking this film. Things that I liked were the scenery, so the different planets that they visited. Um, I liked the space battles. I liked the whole concept of in Star Wars, it's practically this David versus Goliath fight. You have like the Resistance, who hardly has anything compared to the Empire. The Empire has so much advantages, like military ships, military tactics, better weaponry and stuff. But the Resistance goes out and fights them anyway, and it's this battle between good versus evil, and good triumphs in the end. Um, I really like all those concepts about the film. I did like also how in this film how um, Finn, Rey, and Poe are together. I don't think they've been together since the first film, and in the second film they weren't together at all. But this time, in the third film, they were together more. So I really like the chemistry between those three. Um, when I went to go see this film, I did watch a few reviews on YouTube, and a lot of people were complaining about the tempo of the movie, about how it was too fast paced and it was rushing. I didn't see that. I was looking for that. They did go from planet to planet. They went to 3 planets to get to the Sith world, but they didn't just rush off those 3 planets. They spent quite a bit of time there to get the setting and for you to understand why they were there in the first place. So that complaint that people had about how the film was too fast paced, I didn't. I don't believe that it's true. It's not true. They spent plenty of time at those worlds for you to really get the setting and for you to really understand why they were going there in the first place. But now I want to discuss with you all the things that I didn't like about The Rise of Skywalker. Because, like I said, there are some issues with it narrative wise. So, the biggest issue is Palpatine. Like, they brought Palpatine back. How did Palpatine survive episode 6? So, if you don't remember, Darth Vader threw him down a shaft, and then that Death Star they were in, it blew up. So, how did Palpatine survive all of that? We also learned that Rey, she's actually Palpatine's granddaughter. So we have a few plot holes here. First of all, how did Palpatine survive all of that? How did he survive getting thrown down an elevator shaft and the Death Star blowing up? When did he have a son? How did his son like defect from him and say, "No, Dad, I'm not gonna help you. I'm gonna keep my daughter away from you"? Like, how was his son able to do all of that, or his daughter able to do all of that? Who knows? That's the biggest issue. I believe they brought Palpatine back because Kylo Ren isn't challenging enough, and Snoke was defeated in the second film. And that's another plot hole I have to bring up, that Snoke was cloned. Palpatine created him. Just Palpatine coming back in general is like a huge issue, because to me, what would have been better if they left Palpatine dead and they made like Snoke this Sith entity, this dark side entity, and Rey and Finn and Poe and the Resistance had to fight him. But because of the different directions that Rian Johnson went in, he killed off Snoke, so they had to bring Palpatine back so they can have a villain believable enough to be challenging for Rey. Because Kylo Ren, as the supreme leader of the First Order, it isn't challenging enough for Rey. In fact, Kylo Ren redeems himself in this movie by going on the good side, but I have to say, for me, Kylo Ren as a Sith Lord is like the weakest like Sith Lord like out of the whole Star Wars series. Like, as a Sith Lord, I don't like Kylo Ren as much. I mean, he looks cool and all, but he's overrated. Like, when we were first introduced to Kylo Ren, he looked cool. He had this very unique lightsaber. But as a character, he had these issues about living up to the expectations of his grandfather, Darth Vader. And that's the issue right there. Rather than being his own character and being original and unique, he was trying like too hard, to me, like in the first two films, to be like Darth Vader. As like a Star Wars fan, it's like you're gonna have to make your own unique and original character. You can't give people what they already been given, which I think was the huge problem with this whole new Star Wars trilogy. Because in the first film, they brought back the Death Star, and like in this final film, they brought back Palpatine. You can't just rehash and reuse the same old stuff. You're gonna have to be more original and unique and bring in new stuff that's going to make the audience more interested into like the Star Wars lore. But Kylo Ren as a Sith Lord, to me, he's the weakest of all. Like Maul, Dooku, Vader, to me, like they're all above like Kylo Ren, not just like skill wise, but character wise, because they weren't necessarily trying to one up or try to be like their predecessor. They were their own original unique character. Even to me, Asajj Ventress was way better than Kylo Ren. Like throughout the whole like Star Wars series, from episode like 1 through 3 through the Clone Wars, did you like ever see like Count Dooku be defeated by someone who was like a Padawan or just became like a Jedi? Like, no. He like killed like a lot of Jedi. And Darth Maul, even though he died in the first film, he still killed Qui-Gon Jinn. And Asajj Ventress, if you watch Star Wars The Clone Wars, she gave like the Jedi Order trouble like throughout the whole series. And of course, we all know how powerful Darth Vader is. You know him from the like original trilogy. But Kylo Ren, just as a Sith Lord, to me, I don't like him as much. To me, he's overrated. Like, you're gonna hear some people saying that he's the most powerful Sith Lord. He's not. He doesn't come close to Darth Vader. I'm gonna even say like Darth Maul even like puts him to shame. no, even Asajj Ventress like puts him to shame. Um, I would I would even say maybe even Grievous could give him trouble. Like maybe Kylo Ren could defeat Grievous because Grievous doesn't have any Force ability. Um, but to me, they could have written Kylo Ren's character better. Um, I liked how he was like kind of connecting to Darth Vader. But to me, at that point, he could have connected to him, but he should have been his own like Sith Lord, like trying to be better like than Darth Vader. So that's kind of why I like Kylo Ren as a character, but as a Sith Lord, he is by far not my favorite. Okay, so the Final Order brings out these ships. All right, so these ships can, with their laser, destroy a planet. So in the original trilogy, they had to build a Death Star, something that was like the size of a moon, uh, to destroy a planet. And then Episode 7, they brought back the Death Star, and that had to destroy a planet. So now they've made like thousands of ships that have the power to destroy a planet. Like, how did you get something that had to be the size of a moon in order to destroy a planet now down to the size of a star destroyer in order to destroy a planet? That part, that doesn't make any sense. With sci-fi fantasy, there's so much that I let go because scientifically, logically, it doesn't have to make sense, but story wise, narrative wise, it has to make sense. So from point A to point B, the rules that you've laid out for us in the beginning of the series, you have to follow them. Another issue that I had with the film was the retcon. So with the retcon that they did with Palpatine, he wanted Rey to destroy him so his spirit can go into her so she can be the Empress of the Final Order. But originally what it had been was that in the Rule of Two of the Sith, started by Darth Bane, the reason why there was just a master and an apprentice, because in the I don't want to say like Old Republic, so Old Republic or Ancient Sith, the Jedi destroyed the Sith Order a long time ago, and the way they were able to do it because the Sith had too much infighting, because in the Sith they were all trying to double cross each other for power, and that's how the Jedi Order was able to destroy them. So Darth Bane, who survived the Sith Purge, made a rule of two, a master and apprentice, so there wouldn't be any more infighting in their order. So master would train the apprentice, and the apprentice would learn from the master and one day kill his master, so he would be the new Dark Lord of the Sith, and then he would train his or her apprentice. They would get their own apprentice, and then the cycle would continue. If the apprentice couldn't kill the master and the master killed the apprentice, then the master would get a new apprentice, and basically the cycle would just keep repeating itself. But basically, in episode 9 they said that it's a ritual that when a apprentice kills a master, the master spirit goes into the apprentice. And so that's the retcon, and I'm saying like it doesn't make sense, because if that were the case, then why was Emperor Palpatine trying so hard to make sure that Darth Vader never overthrew him, that he was always watching Darth Vader, that he even made sure that Darth Vader's teachings was limited? So those are people who who read the Star Wars like comics and watch other Star Wars media other than the movies, like the cartoons, like they explain this, and in the comics they explain this, that Emperor Palpatine um, didn't want Darth Vader to overthrow him at all. That he wanted to either keep Darth Vader as his apprentice, or if Darth Vader wasn't useful to him anymore, that he get a new and more powerful apprentice. But he did not want Darth Vader to overthrow him. So that's the retcon that I'm talking about. Overall, if you can look past all of that, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker was still a good film, at least for me. Not enough to stop me from liking the film. Like overall, I like the message that it sends out. I like the I liked the visuals. I liked the characters in Star Wars: C-3PO, R2-D2, Chewbacca, Princess Leia, the Resistance, them fighting impossible odds in order for the galaxy to be free from the first or final order, whatever they call themselves now. So I like the film. So if you like Star Wars and if you watched the previous two Star Wars films, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, go ahead and go ahead and see The Rise of Skywalker. Now I understand that the creative differences really hurt Episode 9 and really this whole trilogy, because you had J.J. Abrams film The Force Awakens, and then Rian Johnson filmed The Last Jedi, and the decisions he made kind of put it did put J.J. Abrams and whoever would direct The Rise of Skywalker, which turned out to be J.J. Abrams, into a corner. So he had to do the best with what he had to work with. But like in the future, when they're doing a trilogy, they have to plan ahead. They have to think about the overall story and see how each film is going to connect to the next one. So wherever the previous film left off, that second film begins right there, and it's continuing the story. It should be one overall story. So the creative directions did hurt this new trilogy a lot. In the order of like Star Wars trilogy, number 1 is the original, number 2 the prequels, and number 3 the bottom has to be like the new trilogy. I feel that people were too hard on George Lucas about the prequels. I know J.Jar Binks was annoying, but I still think people were still too hard on George Lucas about the prequels. And I still think that Disney could have gone into George Lucas' direction of expanding the Star Wars lore instead of basically giving us like another episode 4 through 6. Like I heard like George Lucas wanted to explore more of like the Force, like the Wills, and these are supposed to be like the deities of the Force. I think that would have been a better idea, and I think they should listen to him, take more of what he suggests in consideration in the future. So, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Did I like it? Yes, I liked it, and I recommend like you all go see it. It does have its flaws. Don't get me wrong, but it's still a good film, and you should go watch it. With the reviews, take what they say with a grain of salt. Okay, a lot of what they say is true, but it's still not a terrible film. It's still good. It's still watchable. You'll still have a great time. So that's all we have for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did you see Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. You can also follow me on social media at the links in the description box below. And share this video, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and all of you have a great day.